And Rao sir, thanks for kicking off the day. And Amit, a good overview of the complete CV2X. From Stellantis point of view, main screen, please. We will start off with a quick overview of what Stellantis and products within of Stellantis are. A company that has a very broad range of products. When you look at the diversity that we cover, we go from a commercial light motor vehicle to an everyday Fiat or a sports car like a Maserati, the complete gamut. We have enough of variety of products. We also have a long history in terms of in the auto industry. When we started, we kept on growing. And now we're in a pivotal stage of the industry, right? India, within of India, we also have two brand, very focused approach is what we have. With Jeep and Citroen, you'll see a few of these products around in here. And I think those pieces, if you have not experienced it, you're missing out something, make sure you go try out one of these. Introducing myself, I come from a deep technology background, software engineer by education, but been dealing with different industries, consumer industry, industrial segments, and also automotive in the last 8 years. My areas of focus is silicon software back in Intel days, all the way to cloud software, including automotive software, vehicular software, mobile, been there kind of in each of these different areas. And of course, the complete life cycle. So Amit gave a good comprehensive overview on V2X in terms of how we've looked at V2X, what are the value that V2X comes in with, right? So what do we start with on V2X? We try to start sensing. We first connect with another device and we start sensing what the status is. It might be an electrical signal, there's this signal in your intersection. You want to know what the status of it, how soon is it going to go green or how is it going to go red so that you can do readiness to start or proactive braking. In ahead of that, next stage what you do is you would want to sense the distance. If you're driving at some speed, if the vehicle in the front is slowing down, you want to assess how the distance is going on, how's the change in the distance, what's the movement, is there a left or a right, and then you try to derive intent. Right? If there's a pedestrian standing over there in a V2P scenario, you would want to understand if they're trying to cross the road, they're just standing there, how do I maneuver from there, right? And the end value what you get is safety. The focus is really safety and of course efficiency, right? Efficiency is given, but in the traditional V2X context, this is what we are going and looking at. What I'm going to cover in the next 5-10 minutes of my time here is the fundamental change that's going on in a very quiet and seismic way. It's a big change coming in the underneath in the platform area. So all of us are familiar with the two giants. If you look at Apple coming in, Apple CarPlay coming in, is announced on how the CarPlay will now be able to enable your complete cockpit experience. It's no longer an add-on that's just on a small screen. Apple CarPlay, the new versions, will allow you to control the complete cockpit, the instrumentation cluster, and the complete experience that the user has, right? So they have a complete software stack they're building towards that. And Google is not far behind either. So if you look at the Google auto updates coming in, Google Android, Auto 15 coming in, 14's come out, 15 what's coming in. When you look at these areas, the depth of software that each of these giants are going in is humongous. So we have V2X and we have these giants coming in. How does it, come together for us in the auto industry, right? This is a point of view that I would like to really share and provoke your thoughts on this. In a traditional way, what we've had is a user application going through and talks to, user application is whatever you interact with as a driver. A V2X application is the logic that V2X you've written, if it's like a driver monitoring, or if it's like sensing the light signals coming in, or sensing the brake light from the neighboring vehicles. So those are all the V2X applications. They go through the V2X communication stack. Again, why did the V2X communication stack come in? Because there are specific considerations, quality of service requirements in the automotive industry. V2X enables that, right? Underneath that is your OS platform, and underneath that, of course, is your hardware platform. Keep in mind, within of the hardware platform, there's already a convergence happening. You already are seeing that the ECUs are all converging, Tesla being the leader and BYD being the fast follower. They have a central compute. So what was distributed underneath is now consolidating. Now the traditional way, again, continuing on this, is the V2X would talk to the neighboring device, and it had a similar stack to go all the way up. Now, if the hardware underneath is collapsing, and there are technology giants coming in with an operating system that works across different devices, suddenly what you will see is a change where V2X becomes assumed. Again, V2X was, bringing in a quality of service difference. Now, if the OS can provide it by default, because a CarPlay or an Android Auto is qualified completely, then you have an ability for your V2X app to directly talk to the operating system, which enables V2X by default internally. That further basically means, in my assessment, in about 4 to 5 years, you will have an ability to look at a particular workload that is running in one compute stack, being able to move it to another compute stack completely independently. So now imagine if you're connecting your phone to the car, and your phone has got better processing capability because you are refreshing your phone every year and a half, but your car is like a 5-year-old infrastructure. You now suddenly have the ability to move workloads from the car and use your phone compute. AI as an example, if your AI processing engine neural network is so much more stronger on your phone, you'll be able to move things back and forth, right? So this basically means that the experiences that you can, to enable within of a car now starts becoming more and more enlarged and starts becoming more and more flexible. So this is an element of change that is coming in, again, like I said, very quietly, but it's a really seismic change that's coming in underneath our platform. So from here, where we go forward, right? So once you have a common platform, then the whole point of view on how you would choose to use hardware and hardware upgrades within of a vehicle dramatically changes. It changes the way you would do OTA. Today, an OTA solution, you have to do your own connectivity solutions. You have to push the software into the vehicle, and the vehicle has to now take up the software package and distribute it to all the other ECUs. This is the complexity in OTA, right? Once you have centralized hardware, close to centralized hardware, once you have a common operating system running across all of these different ECUs, then your OTA becomes blink of an eye, right? It becomes no different from an app update that you would do on your phone. Once you start solving the OTA problem, the next thing that you will start seeing is the connectivity issues. V2X is dependent so much on connectivity. V2X really kicked up to its top gear with the 5X, advent of 5X. If your car is still not enabled with 5X, but if your phone is enabled with 5X, can it start resource sharing between the car and your phone? And can you start giving out the experiences to your car without needing a native connectivity? Of course, there are examples like remote access when you have to turn on your car when you're not inside the car. Beyond those use cases, every other use case that you would trigger when you're inside the car, can you do a connectivity sharing? Right? That becomes an obvious next step from there. Then, of course, the next piece is once you have the the Androids and the Googles of the or the Apples and the Googles of the world having the complete operating system, you also have the app ecosystem coming into place. So the V2X apps that we were developing can now be developed across multiple vehicles and delivered in a very, very quick and seamless fashion. So the user experience, what the users have been asking, can we get a better, faster experience? We get to that faster and faster with this kind of a change coming in, right? So this is pretty intense when we see it from the inside out, from the technology angle, and this is something that we are preparing for, right? So with that, I stop in here, and we can have any conversation about this on the sidelines. Thank you.